Welcome back. This is a very, very crazy day for the HasuObs Story Cup. This is possibly the last game. Currently, Mouseports is up 4-2 at the moment, and unless Tefel can basically kill everybody, I won't say all kill or reverse all kill or anything like that, but unless he can kill all of the things from this point forward, it could be over for Complexity Dignitas. Fingers are crossed for them. We'll see if they can hold it together, bring it back, or if the man in the top left corner of the map, the red Protoss player, HasuObs, can seal the deal. His opponent on the top right from Dignitas, the blue Zerg player, Tefel. So this was an interesting choice. We had Select play, we had Tefel play, we had Bling play, and Henschel's, of course, just finished playing. And they had the option to resurrect any of those four players, or alternatively play QXE. But instead they go with Tefel. And this makes a lot of sense for a multitude of reasons. Number one is the way server goes on this map, in the HasuObs Story Cup. So, for example, if HasuObs said he wanted a European server and you pick QXE, well, you're going to find HasuObs on the European server with a North American player. Not a lot of fun. Even if he died, they could bring him back later. They've got a whole European team. Pretty good chance that is going to be going down the European server. So even before you take in context of players or skill or anything strategy-wise, the baseline is these games are going to be happening on the European server, and if you want your best chance to win, you got to factor out lag. That leaves only Bling or Tefel, and between the two, no disrespect to Bling, but it's going to be Tefel every single time. Not even a chance. He's a player who takes out Koreans, he takes out Europeans, he wins Go for StarCrafts, he wins the odd Zotac Cup. I mean, well, actually, I don't think he has won Zotac Cups, just thinking on it. Maybe he has and I wasn't paying attention. My brain, like I said, I'm fried at this point, but one way or another, I think Tefel is probably their best shot at winning this, and it was a really intelligent choice for them to play him. Now, it's worth noting what's kind of scary is he's the last player. Of course, this being the last game, possibly the last life. If he dies, that's it. It's over. 5-2, quick sweep, go home happy. Alternatively, though, like, let's say he struggles through this game, but wins. Like, let's say he barely beats out HasuObs, right? Something really nail-biting, nail-clenching, or butt-clenching, and he wins the next two games after that. Then they can always resurrect HasuObs and throw him back at Tefel again. So it's not a great situation for Tefel to be in, but again, he's got to not think about that stuff. His mind's got to be on the game at hand. It's the best of one between these two guys, and we'll see how it plays out. Now, HasuObs did check the gold bases. I like this a lot. I'm not talking about Life at DreamHack or anything like that, but just in general, we're seeing a lot more gold-based, natural base play out of Zerg players, and even some Protoss players have been trying to mimic that in recent times. But what's kind of nice is Tefel is the player who's, I don't know, how do I call it, like the straight shooter. He'll play safe. He'll take the third base down here more than the gold, more often than not. But I have seen him make good use of the gold bases in the past. I am going to just take 1 second, guys. Sorry, again, solo cast, I kind of have to do a ton of stuff at the same time, and I'm sorry about that. Anyways, Forge coming down for HasuObs, as well as the Mothership Core already out. Kind of guarantees nothing Tefel throws at him early is going to really affect him, but for Tefel, let's not forget, his greatest strength in StarCraft 2 is his Roach Hydra. He likes his Roaches, and he likes his Hydras even more. When they're together, it's probably his perfect harmony, but he's not a player who has ever shied away from Swarm Host by any means, and he's not someone who is incapable of going Mutalisks, but I do imagine this will probably start with some Speedlings for safety's sake and move into more likely than not some Roaches and Hydralisks later on. We do have a Stargate coming out of HasuObs, though, and the big question is going to be what comes out of it. You could go for an Oracle, and there's those of you who will argue for and against the Oracle. I personally argue against it. I think the Phoenix in the right hands is the better choice. By going for Phoenix, you dictate the pace of the game. If Tefel didn't want to go Roach Hydra, he's kind of forced to. But third base is going to be taken at the gold, so not going to play it safe. And it's going to take a little bit of pepper from this Mothership Core. Or not. Get back in there, you. Nothing's died so far. Actually, a Zergling did die, so I missed first blood. Cool. So cool. Sorry about that, guys. But it is going to be an Oracle coming up first. So I was waiting to see what it was going to be to talk about the pros and cons of it. I don't like Oracles first. I've not really seen a lot of players get success with this in a ZVP. It's got the chance to. Don't get me wrong. There's a chance that maybe Tefel's got no queens in the main. He's busy elsewhere, and the Oracle slaughters drones. But Protoss players have figured out two things. One, the Oracle kills the queen. Great. 1v1 fight. Boring. We've heard it before. You hear it again. It wins the queen fight. And it's left with enough energy to pick off a couple of drones. Alternatively, what we end up seeing more often than not is a Protoss player will just dive straight up for the drones. So rally around, attack 4, 5, 6. I think I've seen about 6 or 7 seems to be about the average number they can get before they're forced to retreat. Because the queen will eventually kill it, even without a spore crawler there. And of course, keeping it alive is always going to be key, not only for more damage later on, but the revelation skill comes in quite handy. But regardless of what Tefel was worried about coming his way, he is going for the Hydralisk down. Roach Hydra, again, very kind of catch-all composition. You're going to want Hydralisk if it's Immortals. You're going to want Roaches if it's anything else. You need buffers for both. Oracle's up to about 5 kills, 6 kills. Yeah, so like I said, it gets to about this amount and has to disengage. Not that that's bad. I mean, 6 workers is 6 workers. Hey, woo. But I don't know. With the gold base up too, it's not even going to matter that much. Now, there are a lot of sentries available, and we do see Immortals coming out, but it's a quicker Colossus Den that's coming down. So already preparing for the Hydralisks. If he goes too fast for the Colossus, it could be problematic. Typically, you want to get like 1 or 2 Immortals, because you know there's going to be Roaches. And 1 Immortal, yeah, it brings a lot to the party. It brings the beer with its damage, but it's I don't know. It's a unit you're going to need more than 1 of. The Colossus is going to be way more important later on, of course, to deal with the Hydralisk, but as we see, yeah, the second Immortal on the way. Looks like the Oracle did dip into the gold base right while this was going on, so we got about 4 more drone kills while this was happening. But while this is all kind of just passively happening throughout the game, we have a third base being taken out of HasuObs, and I like this. Again, if you're playing against Roach Hydra, it's not something that really pushes early. It's meant to fight defensively on creep until all the tech is out. You know, between Groove Spines, Galil Reconstitution, and Muscular Augments, it's going to be about the 10-minute, well, more closer to like the 12-minute mark when all that tech is finished and done. Sword 92 upgrades have kind of been left to the side here for Tefel, so he doesn't have 1-1. He does have his Carapace finishing up in a moment, and I think a big part of this is so he doesn't have to overly dedicate to tech bath. He doesn't know if he needs to go for ranged weapon upgrades, or if maybe he'll want to swap back to melee. Circlings certainly have their place in ZVP, and if there's one person to give big props to, and you've probably never heard of him, this sounds so hipster, but Jim Rising is a player who makes great use of Zerglings in situations that most players would not. I referenced a show match we just had, I want to say 2-3 days ago versus Puck. It was Jim Rising versus Puck, ZVP, and weird stuff coming out of Jim all day. 4 more kills on the Oracle while this was going on. But the Hydras are looking to strike. This base, not exactly exposed. The Sim City's up, there's a cannon down, and there's, well, not enough Hydralisks for the amount of sentries and force fields that are going to be available. Immediately force fields to push this back, actually. And still more drones elsewhere dying. But the Oracle down to almost 10 HP. He's gotten pretty good value out of it, but the Zealots, I didn't even catch this, run into the natural base while this was happening. Warped in all the way from yonder south. And he's going to pick up a couple more drones, but gets cleaned up to the Roaches. Now at this point, I think Tefel's going to realize like Roach Hydra is going to be an acceptable composition, so hopefully we'll start seeing some upgrades sooner than later. The creep spread 2 is pretty nice for Tefel. When you go anything Hydralisk related, even though you have muscular augments off of creep, well actually you delayed them quite heavily, you're still going to want to fight on creep every time. There's not a single situation where creep is ever going to be worse for you to fight on. The only downside I guess would be banelings. If you brought some banelings on creep, you're going to have a bad time because Terran players will be scanning for it, but either way, no Terran here. Context still given that creep is going to be good. This third base looks really untouchable, quite frankly. The army supply from HasuObs is looking pretty fantastic. Again, the sentry count is really high as well. He's going to definitely get a lot of good force fields off here. And even if he got sloppy ones, he's got plenty more where those came from. A Guardian Shield went down, even though not necessary, but still safe than sorry. It's just energy. And let's not forget about those 2 big time warps within that mothership. Oh, mothership core, I should say, rather. This is looking a nice setup for Tefel. He comes in from multiple angles. But look at those force fields out of HasuObs. If you guys could just slice it, like swipe your finger across the screen. Pretend you're playing Fruit Freaking Ninja. That's what he's done with the force fields. And this is why I say someone needs to develop an app. You'll become rich, I guarantee it. Where you have like Protoss Ninja. Who's like, you know, waves of Hydralisks falling from the top of the screen. And Colossus at the bottom ready to laser beam. And you've got to like slice them and dice them. I still think that would be the coolest game. And I would play that all day on my phone if that was a real app. But we got Hive Tech on the way. Vipers are going to be absolutely necessary. He can't touch those Colossus, and I think he's recognized it. Alternatively as well, even if you can't use the Abducts, Blinding Claws are never bad to have. Either way, moving forward, on creep, a good engagement, but not with Force Fields keeping him locked out. He can't fight this from one angle. Again, multiple angles is the key to really taking this on without Viper support, and Tefel had that earlier on, does not have that right now. So many of his forces choked behind these force fields, and still choosing to engage. Perhaps a little over-dedicated. Will pick off the Mothership Core, and now he's going to try and focus down on some of the Stalkers, but the Colossus are kind of abandoning ship. They can't hit and run the same way a Stalker can. There is no blink, and so close to finishing, but not ready for this fight, and Tefel somehow finds a way to get some real damage in there. That's a fight where he got massacred. Don't make a mistake. He lost so many Hydralisks in that, but he picked off the Mothership Core. He got about 2 of the Colossus and a good chunk of the Gateway units as well. Working off of a gold base and a 4th base at the same time, if he had a few more drones, he would certainly have the economy to just absolutely be able to afford every one of these trades. But he's still looking pretty good. This Oracle, is this still alive? Really, 19 kills now. This thing, you know what? HasuObs has changed me. I'm a changed man. I always talk about how the Oracles are kind of garbage, but HasuObs has gotten more than enough value out of this with 19 kills on it so far. So, sir, I know you can't watch me, and you're probably never going to watch this VOD, but I salute you. I like this pylon down here, still hasn't been discovered, and there's a probe ready to put another one if necessary. But Viper's coming out, too, right now. They're not going to, of course, start with enough energy to do anything, but they'll consume. Both players kind of lacking on tech, oddly enough. Coming up on their level 2 weapon upgrades, similar-ish timings, but of course Chrono Boost makes that a little bit better. The Zealot Cannon Fodder / Buffer, however you want to refer to it, it's been kind of a bit weak, a bit lackluster because they haven't had charge, but that'll be finishing up here shortly. Does he not see the pylon? Oh my god. He's got to know that's there, though. He saw the Zealots warped in, like this... Okay, now he sees it, Actually, what's kind of interesting to consider, guys, is while this has been going on, like HasuObs has been doing really low Zealot Warpins and still getting drone kills behind this. I kind of wish a Warp Prism would be made. Just do some counter harass, because it's not too much different than versus Terran. Like a good way to beat Roach Hydra as a Terran player is you do a lot of drops, you get a lot of medevacs. Same kind of concept would apply here. He's using the Oracle in lieu of it, I suppose, but you know, you can't respond very quickly, and unfortunately with Roach Hydra, you kind of have to keep your army together, because segmented off, they're no good. That's the whole point of force fields, right? Okay, coming up forward. He's got some Abducts ready. There are Templar ready for feedbacks, though. 4 Templar, 3 Vipers. You do the math. I think we know which wins. I do like the hallucinations a lot, though. These are on the front lines, and without an Overseer here, he actually doesn't know which of these are real. And if he abducts the fake Colossus, oh boy, is Tefel gonna be pissed. This is a really tough scenario to be in. He's had really nice map control this whole game, but a Dark Templar and 3 Zealots are warped in. That probe that was hiding down here all game finally finds great use and puts a pylon very close on the front lines. Drones are going to be pulled, but this hatchery is getting focused down. He's actually not going for worker kills. And Tefel, as pointed out before, guys, you have to draw his entire army to deal with this. It sucks. You can't pull too little, and you can't pull not enough. So it's all or nothing when it comes to Roach Hydra, sadly. Now, that's not like all or nothing, like he's all, oh, this game is over. But I mean, like, it really is all or nothing. You can't leave, like, 4 Hydralisks at home to defend. Outside of rare scenarios where you're trying to ward off a Warp Prism, I guess. But as we see, the Dark Templar and Zealots get quite a few kills. Down to 48 workers beaten back. Gold base starting to run out. This is where a lot of his momentum came from this game. And Tefel, well, he's not screwed yet. But the second these gold runs out, I kind of feel like he might be. He's got a really nice bank going for him, but again, guys, the reason he's been able to make a lot of these awful trades, oh, I shouldn't say awful, but like less than enjoyable and less than profitable trades, is because he's been able to ride that gold train. 25 kills on that Oracle. I don't know if you saw it. 25 kills just before it went down. Not too bad. All right, well, we got some Blinding Clouds going down instead of Abducts because we did have a lot of feedbacks that slammed down on top of these, but the Roach Hydra count's still looking really strong. The Colossus, 3 of them in the back, though, will drive this attack away. And Tefel coming in from behind, going to throw away a couple more Hydralisks. It's a little bit sad to see these units getting wasted the way they are, but trying to take a new base, recognizing his economy is not what it once was. He will drone punch, citizens arrest that one Zealot that was being a little bit abusive. But the army count, I mean, the supply for Tefel is huge, right? But you gotta consider, guys, a lot of this is roaches. These are units that are very supply inefficient. Every pro in their life has said that to you at some point if you've watched them stream or talk or commentate, and it's the truth. The Hydralisks are really nice, but they're really weak is the problem. Gold base is finally gonna go down, but oh my god, Tefel's gonna lose all these Overlords! He doesn't have the money nor the larva to replace all of these overlords, and they don't have Nobitized Campers. He can't run these away. HasuObs! It sounds so dumb. He's locked in this base, this gold, very awkwardly, but if he can kill these overlords, none of this army value matters. Although I guess if he kills enough of the army, he'll do Tefel a favor of unsupply blocking him. But so many overlords just went down, guys. Not only is that 1,300 minerals in the hole, that's 13 larvae he can't afford to replace. That's money he needed for his army, not for overlords. Recognizing that that was such a terrible thing to have happen, he moves across the map to try and force out a fight. Roaches will try and focus down this one Colossus. They're not gonna get it, sadly. Oh, though actually he stops the fight, so they will get it in the end. But there's too many stalkers. They've got Blink. They've got level 2 weapon upgrades. Level 3's on the way. Tefel has no forces left. And I think HasuObs has just locked this down for Mouseports. 4-2 is the current score, soon to be 5-2. GG is called, and in this best of 9, Mouseports will win.